comfortable on yet, because it's a big change in their strategy that we saw at the World Championship with Marin, where it was definitely a major priority for this team.
Yeah, very true. There's a Rise ban, of course, against Faker. Just not something you want to let the guy play, but...
And this is really interesting. So Fiora and Lissandra have definitely historically been very potent picks for SKT, because Lissandra's a very good flex pick when they had Marin, because Marin was probably the best top lane Lissandra player in Korea. And of course, Faker no slouch on that particular pick either. So banning it on both sides, again, is a major change. So perhaps, again, Duke not exactly comfortable on those particular champions. They also might just want to take a longer team fight because they're leaning away from even picking Lulu first. So same bans on both sides of the rift here.
Wow.
For SK Telecom. It's not something you see very often. And same thing so far for CJ. MF was the final ban in the last game.
What's it going to be this time around? A lot of good picks. Tom Kench
that's probably
taken
smart.
away. Yeah.
This will force a little bit of a different style of composition out of SK Telecom. And fortunately for us, we will get to see
Oh boy.
Duke playing something else. But MF going to come through. And of course, MF just very mobile at the current time with the changes to her kit and the difference to Strut. Easily able to get back into lane, so it is hard to take turrets against MF because she can just get back so quickly from recalls. And also just her trades are pretty ridiculous with her new passive and double up right now.
Yeah, well, the range on her slow, too, is just crazy.
So,
anyone who's been playing League lately knows that you have a hard time when you lane against an MF.
so Kindred Alistar priority, once again, for CJ, so they're not going to be mixing it up very much. Bubbling, it wasn't really his Kindred play, it was his jungle pathing last game that was a bit rocky. He didn't really play around his team's pressure that well, and it did get him caught out a couple of times. And we could see Alawi, I suppose.
I mean, Elise still a powerful pick in the jungle, but yeah, do you actually think we're going to see that Alawi?
It sets up an AoE Wombo combo, so that's
true.
A possibility for sure. SKT could entirely switch gears here, where they were going more for a poke style composition with protect the AD carry, and now they could just be going for the big bullet time and some more supporting area of effect damage. And this will be our first Alawi game, but
Maybe not, after all.
might be some Gnar instead.
You know, we had Curse of the Sad Bullet Time way back when we were doing the Amumu Misfortune combos, back when Cloud Templar was slinging the bandages around before he went over to casting. But we'll see what sort of new Wombo combos they can come up with now.
Well, just a lot of CC taken so far by SK Telecom, and maybe an attempt here at a top lane Vlad for a little bit of sustain up against this Gnar.
Would seem acceptable, I suppose.
Yeah, they're going to need, again, whenever you play the Kindred, you generally are also going to take a tanky top laner, because the jungle has changed quite a bit from last season, where jungle was primarily used for crowd control and tankiness. And now, considering you can carry harder out of the jungle than you could previously, it does allow for more options. When it comes to carry top laners like we saw at the end of last season with the tanky junglers. Now, you can still do that, or you could play this style where you provide a lot of peel for the jungler and allow the Kindred or the Graves to be a primary damage dealer.
Lucian's still a very strong pick right now, so no big shock to see CJ lock that in for Kramer. Over on the SKT side, what's it going to be? A lot of good support options right now. There's the Trundle locked in.
Well, you got your wish, Doa.
Nice. Wolf's Trundle, he's going to be trolling the Rift. It's going to be great. But the Mumu, I don't think so. Yeah. Faker's been playing a lot of LeBlanc in solo queue like he always has.
Yeah, also a very safe blind pick, so I assume we're going to see the LeBlanc blind pick here. Just because without CJ showing a mid lane pick yet, it does make it a little more difficult. Corki another safe blind pick, and it's going to roll through Bang's litany of troll choices. Victor, pretty safe, just again, solid wave clear. Not a whole lot changing with him. And that will be a blind Victor.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. Victor hasn't been quite as popular lately, but still
it goes into the AoE combo, right? Plus, the choke control with the Victor Trundle combination. Basically, if you're doing Baron, good luck getting through Gravity Field and Pillar. Like, there's basically no way to stop them from doing a Baron when you have that much control over choke points, and the enemy jungle will be a very dangerous place for CJ to fight, or even their own jungle, simply because there are going to be so many avenues blocked by SK Telecom, and the threat of the Gnar ultimate, bullet time over the wall, can be pretty brutal. So
well, SKT has so many good methods to funnel CJ into chokes
Scary.
and then blow up. Yeah,
very scary.
really, really cool. Can't wait to see how Wolf's going to be able to use that pillar when it comes to fighting. There's LeBlanc locked in for Sky.
Yeah, LeBlanc, especially with the new Keystone Mastery system and the fact that you do have the Thunderlord, which adds even more burst, really, to her kit right there.
Yep.
So she is very, very powerful and generally a pretty safe laner in almost every situation. There have been some rumblings that I've heard, talking to some pro players, that Syndra is currently a viable counterpick against LeBlanc, but I haven't seen it myself.
Okay. Well, any way you slice it, CJ has a lot of work to do if they want to come away from this series looking anything but weak. We'll see if they can come back and maybe put up a bit of a fight in Game 2 as we see our final lineups for both of these teams. Trundle Misfortune bot lane. Welcome to Season 6, guys.
Quite different indeed, but SKT trending more towards AoE teamfight composition, looking to use the terrain to their benefit. Should be interesting. While CJ Entus, a lot of the same picks. We'll see if Bubbling and Sky can do a little bit more damage this game, moving away from the pick composition at the very least.
Yeah, should be awesome to see. I love the big Wombo combo team fight comps. My favorite way to see League. And we will in just a moment as we load into our second game of Champion Spring. It's time, guys. Can CJ tie it up? Let's find out and get in the game. And we're back once again. CJ fans not giving up hope.
Have you given up hope, Doa?
Well, I'm not a CJ fan, so I don't know what that's like. I've been an SKT fan for a long time, man, so I've never had to worry about that.
And that's how he deleted 2014 from his memory.
There you go. Hey, well, you know, they almost, well, yeah, it didn't. It wasn't a great year, but it's a better year than CJ. Put it that way. Sounds good. We'll see if Sky can get any more traction going on this LeBlanc this game. Wolf already chasing Mad Life away. Beef is tasty. He wants to take a big bite.
What a debut game for Sky. You really don't wish this on anybody, do you?
No.
First professional game versus Faker.
Yeah, it's, I mean, what can you do, right? I mean, it's your first professional game against Faker. It's tough, man. Just a tough position to be in. And playing a champion like Twisted Fate, too, that comes with some sort of inherent risks to playing the champion. He didn't make it easy on himself, you know?
No, he didn't. And I think that having the LeBlanc will be a simpler affair for him.
Yeah.
Overall, and it looks like we're not going to see any lane swaps once again this game. Both two lanes starting on that bottom side of the map. Both junglers starting with a leash from the top lane.
It looks like the duos are going to be taking some jungle camps on the way there, or just one jungle camp anyway. Sky getting aggressive onto Faker right away, and LeBlanc is a much safer champion for him to bring to this mid lane, so we'll see what he can do. Bang and Wolf, though, brand new combo. We've never seen these guys play either of these champions, as far as I know. I'd be very surprised if that were the case.
Maybe we've seen some MF, but we definitely haven't seen Wolf play support Trundle. That is a very new pick. Bubbling actually going for an early invade here.
Wow, Bubbling turning around onto Bengi. Bengi taking some damage. Needs to be
He's gonna
careful here.
die.
Bengi in a lot of trouble. Faker coming in, flashes ahead. Can he get some revenge? A little bit of damage on Bubbling, but that's not going to do it.
Great cheese there for Bubbling, just
Wow.
coming in. So getting that early leash and then disrupting the blue buff, knowing that the level 2 dueling was going to beat out Bengi right there and winning. Meanwhile, he did have a little bit of safety. Maokai was pushed up a little bit, and that's much better sense of the map that Bubbling has had and sense of his power level than we saw at any point in the last game. So fun first blood coming over to Bubbling.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Kramer actually winning that first trade against Thang's Misfortune, and You don't see a lot of people winning trades against misfortunes right now.
No, you don't. But again, like you said in the first game, the sustain coming from the Alistair will be quite useful. And looks like it's been a pretty nice early spawn here for Kindred. Anytime you can get the mark spawn onto one of the Scuttle Crabs, you're going to be feeling really good. Getting some of those early stacks, adding to your damage. It's always a nice feature. And Kindred just simply going to go back. Bubbling takes the red buff and then retreats. Meanwhile, Bengi will move to the opposite side of the map, but there's not going to be any contest here over the blue buff followed into the Scuttle Crab.
Yep.
This is a really good early jungle start. Bengi's going to have to wait for a while to get pressure.
Yeah. And we're going to have to see how that impacts the other lanes too. You know, Sky and Kramer having some issues last game with all the pressure Bengi and the rest of SKT were able to put on them. But this time around, they've got a little bit easier way to go.
Yeah, and Tara even doing a pretty good job against Duke right here, winning that battle. Bengi going to come through, take out his blue buff at long last. And here's the Scuttle Crab kill for Bubbling. So he's getting a lot of free farm early, has some items. Going for the Tracker's Knife again, so looking for that vision, considering you're not going to build a Sightstone onto Kindred, so having that Tracker's Knife can be quite useful.
All right, a little bit of action down the bot lane. Wolf gets caught. He may be in a lot of trouble here trying to run away. Nice pillar, slows down Madlife and Bubbling enough for him to make it out. Meanwhile, a big duel up in the top lane. Duke's going to lose that one, though.
Yeah, again, Untara burning his teleport very early on. We saw him do this last game with Maokai, getting the double Doran's rings for the early power spike and then just immediately using the TP. So forcing that advantage, Duke can have to TP himself now into the top side after losing that little engagement. They're going to try and turn this around. Untara pushed very far forward. Bengi coming into the enemy jungle, but they decide too many minions right now, don't want to go for it. Duke, so not quite level 6 yet, so not having the most amount of CC.
Yeah, too bad. That looked like a
We'll see, they can still go for it. Untara just going to go back and recall on that pressure, not going to take any chances knowing his jungler's in the bottom side and he has no vision. So safe game, and Untara not getting that same CS advantage that he has last time, but forcing Duke into a double Doran's purchase of his own.
Speaking of CS advantages, Sky has managed to get a little bit of one against Faker here. Not a huge one, but a little bit.
Yeah, Faker back to lane first, he'll even it up pretty quickly, and we do see what is going to be pretty common if you guys have been out of the scene for a little bit, which is a lot of Frost Queen's claims on mid laners, especially on 524. So what this does is it's an item that provides some nice stats, some extra gold, but also in a meta with lower vision because of the changes to the number of wards and the kinds of wards you can have. It makes it so you actually do get some knowledge by popping the Ghost, the active ability. And it's a very long 4-second slow in team fights too, so it allows you some pretty good crowd control in the midst of a team fight.
Yeah. Duke on the run, gets slowed down a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to catch him though, no? Easy escape for Duke. But you're right, I mean, the vision game has changed so much this season. No more buying green wards, you can only get those from items. And it's made everything a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more exciting, and it's made vision control a lot harder.
Yeah, certainly has. Bengi is still doing a good job of getting some deeper wards in though, in spite of that early death, and so far coming out on top with at least a minor farm advantage. Hasn't had the same number of shops though, and it's like Faker's going to start pushing up using his Death Ray, and they're going to go for a dive here on the bottom side. Madlife's still only level 4, so he won't be able to tank this. All
right, well, they know what's up now. There's the slow. Madlife in a little bit of trouble, goes back in onto Wolf and Bang, but he's going to lose a lot of health doing it again. No ult for Madlife equals an easy kill for SK Telecom. They committed a lot to it, but it looks like they'll get away with it.
Yeah, nice job. Faster on the roam. They knew both top laners' TPs were down. No Unbreakable will yet.
And just like the plan, I'm sure they had going into it, Wolf got the kill.
Of
Worked
course,
out
naturally.
perfectly. Yep.
Quality trolling. They may go back for round 2 right here. Kramer still sitting under the turret. Now you know there's a pink ward there.
Yeah.
They can try and come around the back and get a cocoon down.
Well, they forced the flash at least. They'll be able to get a lot of damage onto the turret if they want to.
Yeah, still a nice win. You can see Bang really out trading and out CSing Kramer here. Both summoners now down on the AD carry, so huge advantage for SKT in that bottom lane, and you see how precise. Just thinking about how SKT set that up. Methodical warding through the enemy jungle from Bengi to start it off. Faker pushes the lane, then they immediately transition down into a roam on the bottom side through the enemy jungle. Great read, and this is a lot of pretty textbook League of Legends that's being played tonight by SK Telecom. Pretty much what you'd expect in an ideal situation about how to push through to objectives, gain the vision you need to make airtight plays.
Yep, and it's good to see too. I mean, it's good to see just standard by-the-book play coming into a new year, new season. They made a big change in the top lane, so why not keep things simple right away?
Yeah, Duke, he hasn't had a big burden on him tonight. Most of the map movement has been done by Bengi and Faker so far in this series, and they haven't been relying on him for teleport ganks in the laning phase, just simply on split pushing and better TP usage later on in the game, and he's been delivering on that front.
Yeah. Now, SK Telecom has a lot of vision around this dragon. Do you think they're going to try to go for it soon?
They have that opportunity. Meanwhile, Madlife here playing it dangerous.
Yeah, Faker maybe in a little bit of trouble too. No, gravity shield goes down, catches Bubbling. There's a Lamb's Spite though. Can he keep him alive for the moment as he flashes away? SKT grabs that kill anyway. Faker hits it with the Chaos Storm. They try to slow down a few more members of CJ with that pillar from Trundle, but no more catches. But I think SKT is going to be quite happy with that.
It's the second time that we've seen Bubbling sort of misplay pressure as a jungler on that bottom side river. Happened in the first game too, which got him killed. Happened again, and it's going to open up plays like this, and CJ has to be very careful. They have no summoners remaining.
Madlife still isn't level 6.
Yeah, Trundle is, so...
Yeah, well, pushes Wolf back over the wall here. Bullet time goes down. Bang has to back away, though. Oh, Bang in a lot of trouble at the moment. Untara comes down with the teleport. There's a kill for CJ. Duke came down as well, followed with his own TP. Bengi having to back away from Sky, though. Sky may find a kill here. Bubbling, helping out, and I think this one's going to be another one for CJ. It will be an SKT. That gank not working out like they wanted it to.
Untara actually had a very good TP right there, and the read from Madlife in particular made that play because he punted the Trundle right back over the wall and then concentrated. Banks tried to set up a bullet time, but actually completely whiffed it as Kramer and Madlife split under the turret. But Untara coming back from the lane ward right there made a lot of difference, and Duke was not quite there in time to do much of anything, and Bengi just isolated on the backside. So nicely played by CJ, and that's what we've been talking about with Duke. Sometimes he just doesn't have the best TP setup. We'll probably take a look at that one again. He may not have had a good ward to TP to, but regardless, nice read by CJ, and good play by Madlife.
Yeah. Well, Madlife has been playing Alistar for a very long time. Pretty much since his first season, 12 seasons ago. A lot of Madlife Alistar back then. In fact, the champion that he really first made a name for himself on. Everyone thinks about Madlife's Blitzcrank, but he was really known for his Alistar before anything else.
Yeah, absolutely true. Something, a champion we've long associated with Madlife's play.
Yep. Yep. But, you know, not only good mechanically, but like we just saw, very intelligent play too. Bubbling, laying in wait in this tri-brush. Wolf is going to get spotted by the Rift Scuttler ward. Duke finally putting some pressure on Untara, looks like, but nothing that Maokai can't handle.
Well, he is going to be going for Hex Drinker. Nice
Whoa,
engage.
Here we go. Yeah, Madlife making a plan to Wolf, knocking it back into the enemy team. Wolf trying to get back as far as he can, but he's behind enemy lines and he's taken down. CJ with another good gank. They've got a nice little gold lead here. SKT, they need to be careful.
Yeah, and they saw the Kindred coming in through the river right there, I believe. Actually, Kindred probably hopped over the wall. I didn't see the start of that, so it might have been a little bit more surprising. But first Dragon of the game over to CJ right now as they push forward.
So what's the issue with SKT? Is it just CJ playing that much better than in game one, or does SKT look a little bit lazy to you?
Well, it really on that other gank, I think they could have set up the TP from Duke better, and that was a major problem, TP location.
A Faker on the run now, going to turn it right around onto Bubbling, who has to pop that Lamb's Spite just to stay alive. Faker, though, one more laser could do it. He's just going to get him with the Chaos Storm anyway.
And Bubbling just forced to run out of his own ultimate right there, because if he stayed in there, the heal wasn't going to be enough for another round of cooldowns from Faker. And Faker right here, not going to get the stun, will get chained in. That's going to force Sky to run away, at least for the moment. Faker trying to get some early magic resist here before finishing that Frost Queen's claim. Will be most likely building into Abyssal Scepter, so he actually is taking a lot less damage from this LeBlanc, and it showed, especially when he still had heal up and LeBlanc didn't have the Ignite.
I mean, they're really going to need Faker to carry this game. Sky coming in to try to make a play here. Bengi went for the Cocoon but didn't get it. Faker right now with most of the kills on the team. Spooky Ghosts, Frost Queen's claim done for both of these guys.
Yeah, we'll see that used quite frequently just to make sure that there's no one around and initiate these trades. Very, very strong item. Typically thought of course, as a support item, but generally built on mid laners these days.
Yep. I mean, SKT with the kills on exactly the right people, right? Faker and Wolf.
Naturally.
Yep, that's what they wanted. Bubbling taking his own red before moving up towards top lane. We'll see if he tries to make a play onto Duke. There's a ward there, so Duke shouldn't be caught unawares. Yeah, Bubbling's going to walk right into it.
Yeah, Bengi prioritizing the Boots of Swiftness over any kind of Sightstone or completed early jungle item. And we saw a lot of these Boots of Swiftness last game, and the speed was buffed on them a little bit. They are cheaper than a lot of the other boots, so really just offering a lot of control over the map right now, considering how fast you can get around and make your ganks or try and get a few wards in where you can.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, especially with the tracking knife, or tracker's knife rather, whatever you want to call it, already done.
Tracker's knife, I guess we could use that.
For Bengi, and so that means that just has a little bit more opportunity to get in and out of the enemy jungle with those wards.
You know, we're seeing both Wolf and Madlife prioritize getting that Sightstone really quickly before finishing off like base of the mountain or anything like that too.
Yeah,
so
that's why that's pretty common.
You need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you can't buy green wards anymore, you pretty much have to rush Sightstone if you want to be able to do any sort of vision control game like you used to be able to with support.
Well, we're going to get tied up right here.
Yeah. And Bengi's scared away. Those ghosts are spooky. Wow, Wolf in a little bit of trouble. Pillar down to slow Madlife. Looks like they're going to get the pink ward at the end anyway, though.
Yeah, to get the Trundle ultimate out without having to use Alistair's.
Yeah.
Just a little bit back and forth right now. And Bang, who had that huge lead. It's been a very nice comeback from Kramer and Madlife after that second sort of failed dive there from SKT. And we will see him go back, pick up an Essence Reaver of his own. And back to pretty slow gameplay here in the early game.
Man, when Misfortune fires her guns like kick back all the way behind her head. How do you aim like that?
It will be really hard, right? She obviously
know.
doesn't have much forearm strength.
I just wouldn't want to stand behind her. That's really dangerous to constantly point the guns back behind you.
I mean, you also shouldn't really be using two pistols at the same time if you want any semblance of accuracy.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of her ultimate, though, isn't it? You know, just kind of spray and pray. Wait, that's a different ultimate. Wait, it used to be.
It's not an ultimate,
Not
though.
anymore, yeah. She just kind of rat-a-tats, if you will. You know, that commonly used phrase for when someone just shoots a bunch of bullets in one direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if she can do that many bullets with two guns, I'm pretty sure she could do about the same with one gun, right? Because clearly we're not in the realm of reality at that point in time.
Well, let's pretend we are for a second. Uh-oh. Bang wishes he wasn't, though. There, Madlife flashes for the knock-up there. Wolf trying to keep his AD carry alive, but here comes the rest of CJ, Untara, and Bubbling coming down as well. Easy kill for CJ. Meanwhile, Sky takes out Bengi. Shane's in the sky to bring that Elise right back down again. Duke trapped under turret. Gonna go Meganar at just the right time, but has to hop out anyway. Flash ultimate to push away Bubbling, but Duke is gonna get killed by CJ as well. Wolf forced to flash on the run. I gotta say, CJ has managed to put together a pretty good lead here in game two.
Really delayed teleport again from Wolf. Faker, though, coming in with a lot of damage. Will take some in return from Sky.
It's time for the Faker show. Here comes Chaos Storm. Lamb's Respite's gonna be running out soon. Wolf trying to give Faker the chance to get a kill or two, but he just can't do it.
Yeah, CJ taking control of this game, and I guess forgetting a little bit about the Kindred ultimate right there. You're not going to get burst down as long as Kindred is there. Meanwhile, Sky just remaining a bit elusive, and Faker going to be pushing up this lane. Untara's teleports on these ganks have been quite good. He's been in position, and the setup here from the wards from Mad Life has changed a lot about how this game is played out. Meanwhile,
Oh, Bengi.
Bengi on the old face check. Easy kill.
Yep. And then Duke, what do you do? 1v4 under the turret, gets that Meganar, but
Well,
not
he's
quite tanky enough.
He's also built full magic resist right now, so the damage
Oh, yeah.
from Kramer is pretty significant. You can see, of course, the Hex Drinker popping, but that is not going to do very much against the Essence Reaver, and it's been a lot about Mad Life this game, honestly. His setup has been good, and his warding has made a lot of these ganks possible.
Support carry is real. Sky having a much better game against Faker. Oop, ouch. Oh, he's okay. Didn't do damage after all.
We were worried there for a second, but
Yep.
no longer.
Nope, it's fine. Won't lose any sleep tonight now.
No turrets taken, though, so CJ, they have these 8 kills, but they only have a 2K gold lead at the moment. They do have that first dragon, but they haven't been able to transition into most important objective right now, Bang.
Be able to soon.
Taking a lot of damage there from Kramer's Lucian.
Oh, this misfortune just has not worked out yet for Bang.
But Doa, it won't matter because you get one good bullet time in the late game and
It's true.
it'll just win you the game.
That's
So,
what misfortune's all about. He's going to try it right now. Oh, I thought he was going to try it.
he's
going to
make it rain.
No. Oh, well. You think Nami would have an ability called Make It Rain instead of Misfortune? Really, really big mistake by the lore department there, I think.
You would have thought that if you can't have a cigar in Graves' mouth in League of Legends, that you shouldn't be able to have an ability called Make It Rain. But what do I know?
Hey, well, I mean, you probably wouldn't imagine you'd have rampant alcoholism either, but we've got that. Who knows? It's a fantasy environment. Everything's okay except for smoking. That's just way too far.
Only certain kinds of addictions are allowed.
That's right. Yep. I mean, you can be the living avatar of life and death, but smoking is just right out. Yeah.
Boy.
You can be a cow who dresses like someone who tortures cows to death for a living,
That is so messed up, by the way.
but you can't smoke.
We're back at this. Matador Alistair and
know,
Cowboy
right?
Alistair. Wow.
Seriously.
Alistair is seriously messed up.
He's sadistic, man. Oh. Well, Faker trying his best to keep this lane push. I mean, the game really is on Faker's shoulders right now.
Yeah, it is, but again, SKT has such a powerful late game team fight that this small deficit that they've incurred right now is definitely not the end of the world for them. And CJ has to keep snowballing here because they just don't have that same AoE. They do have that strong pick potential still with LeBlanc and Kindred Burst, but getting caught in a Gnar ult and MF ult combo is going to be absolutely brutal. They choose to fight in the wrong situation.
Yeah. Taking a lot of damage on that mid lane turret. There's not a lot he can do about it.
Well, he could trade with his energy transfer, power transfer, whatever it's called.
Something transfer. Transfer student? No. That's not it at all.
He's only a student of the game, Doa.
It's true. He's a student of, what's it called? Techmaturgy?
I don't know.
I don't know what the kids are calling it these days. Whoa, Sky going back in, but Faker's ready for him. Drops that gravity storm, or chaos storm. I don't know what's going on anymore. let's just start making up names for abilities. Gets out. Kramer. Whoa. Bang nearly finds himself culled there.
Kramer's been doing a very good job with his culling accuracy.
Yeah.
Consistently, massively chunking out Samap, but Duke has been methodically working away at the top turret here with all of his offensive items.
I mean, this is classic Duke, though, right? You know, you just dominate your lane, you get that turret, that unleashes you across the map. They do trade. CJ gets the bot turret, but Duke's certainly doing his part.
Yeah, he has to get more tanky stats now because he's still not going to be anywhere as useful in a team fight as Muntara's Maokai is currently.
Yeah.
Faker slowly losing his grip. over this mid lane. Sky able to consistently deal small amounts of chip damage to it.
If you make Victor lose his grip, that's pretty impressive because he's got 3 hands.
Yeah, it's a lot of grip, and one mechanical hand, which we assume has a lot of grip.
Yeah, or you just like put whatever they put on those football gloves on your hands so you catch the ball really easy. I'm sure he's got that on his robot hand.
Has to catch his staff sometimes.
That's right. That's what I'd use. But in no way does that aid his catching to an unreasonable degree. You know, it's pure athleticism. Everyone knows that.
You could definitely make the same catches you could 50 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why we see it all the time in the old footage. It's obvious. Tons of one-handed catches back then. That's a different game, Monte Cristo.
It is.
This is League of Legends.
Kramer back in the top side. We're seeing a bit of a swap right now. And Duke should be backing off momentarily. Does have the Dead Man's Plate, so that will be of immense use to him in future team fights. Kind of the item he needed to get rolling right here. Interestingly, Untara...
Say it might give him some momentum.
It will give him some undoubted momentum.
I'd say so too. Well, Bang rotated down to the mid lane. They're going to try to help Faker push this up a little bit, but CJ's got some decent pressure on Baron. SKT, though, they're just waiting for that one major team fight. Could be Dragon time, too. What? Excuse me? Misfortune? Is
that wasn't really a joke.
Funny? Thanks. Thanks, Misfortune. I appreciate it.
Here we go.
Oh, teleport coming in. CJ wants to fight here. Untara immediately slowed down by that pillar from Wolf, though, and that really breaks it all up. Nice heads-up play from Wolf to make sure that Untara can't flank like CJ wants, and that may cost him a tower. Bang thinks it's hilarious.
I think that's Bengi, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that Elise? I thought that was
Elise.
All right. Where's Korean Lysandra when you need her?
Banned, unfortunately, for
Wow.
us.
Yeah.
Well, Duke's gonna actually just save his CP right here, and that's the power of this Trundle-Victor combination, right? You just have so much disengage.
Yeah. Faker has to cleanse her.
Holy cow.
That's the bullet time. Luckily, Kindred has this ult that makes people not die, in case you're not familiar with that. But it's still going to be a turret for SK Telecom, and we'll see if they can back out and take a dragon off of this as well. Duke is going to be able to get the bot turret at the same time, and SKT suddenly coming alive here.
The zone control is absolutely crazy. When you talk about one of the strengths of support Trundle, it's absolutely just putting that pillar down next to a turret, which makes it virtually impossible to defend. And when you combine that with gravity field and a bullet time right over the top to discourage any attempt to defend a turret, makes it quite easy. And that teleport and the heads-up play defense there from SK Telecom means that they actually get 2 turrets in the end, so that's going to swing the gold right back into SKT's favor.
Yeah, good start for CJ, but SK Telecom not out of this one at all.
Let's take a look at that vacant rain, gravity field, and pillar.
Jeez.
Beautiful use of all 3 abilities. And that makes it quite easy just to push them off the turret, get the chunk damage they need.
Yep. A little bit of action in the top lane. Bubbling, making sure that they're able to claim that turret. Sky just really wants to fight Faker all day. Can't blame him.
I suppose not. Neither player the death though yet. And Faker just stacking up on some of this magic penetration right now. He's going to need it. The Abyssal and the Spirit Visage already done onto CJ. And Kindred here trying not to explode. Going for the magic resist path. I actually try to explode, not to explode. Oops, I messed it up. I try not to explode every day, Noah.
Me too.
I screwed up the joke.
In the morning when I wake up, I'm like, things I don't want to do today. Explode. That's one of them. Yep. So, great life goal.
Bang has the Infinity Edge right now, and since MF's ult itself can deal a lot of crit damage, getting a higher crit chance is pretty important.
Yep.
So that's going to be a nice power spike for her coming into this game. Frozen Heart now done for Untara, but that is, it's going to be helpful, but MF not really going to be reliant on auto attack speed in order to deal damage.
See from the vision right now, CJ really does not have a lot of knowledge about what's going on SKT's side of the map.
Yeah. I mean, SKT, they have the turret advantage right now. They can just play methodically and wait for late game objectives. The onus is more on CJ right now, who came out with that strong lead to continue to try and take out people, get those picks with the burst damage. Yep. Mid tower's low though, so we're gonna take a look at that right now. I think we're pretty fast.
Yeah, he's gonna get that way. Duke just doing the Duke thing. He's just doing what Duke does, just pushing a lane all day, every day. He'll show up when there's a fight. Maybe.
Maybe he will.
Probably. A high chance of Duke in the fight.
We're just gonna wait here. We saw Untara pick up a pretty quick distortion enchantment this game just to maximize the uptime on his teleport. But that last teleport failure and Duke's being up the entire time, he hasn't had a real chance to make the most use of it.
Yeah.
But distortion now done for Duke too.
Wolf drops the pillar. They may have caught Bubbling here. Bubbling, though, manages to get out just in time. Seemed to be a bit of a close call. You do need to watch out.
Going into SKT's jungle is not what CJ wants to do right now, unless they are very, very sure that no one is there because of the sheer amount of crowd control and choke control that SKT's composition has. And there are the spooky ghosts.
Yeah.
Fine Sky there, getting a little bit of a slowdown. And I'll clear those wards right out of the jungle and move down the mid lane.
And SKT putting a lot of pressure of their own. Gold is dead even right now.
Well, they can't really stop Duke. Duke is just going to continue to out-pressure this Maokai with his current itemization. And
well, it's like we were saying earlier, you know, once he gets some tanky stats, you combine that with the higher damage that Nar has over this Maokai and the range poking that he has, and yeah, I mean, Untara is just going to have a really hard time going 1v1.
Indeed. So Bad Life now looking for a little bit more deep vision after it's taken away, but I think he already clearing out that side. And now getting another lane swap here, so Duke going to be heading top, Bang just continuing to hold the mid lane alongside Faker. The wave clear quite good, so try and make a play onto Duke. Forces Duke flash and target a TP.
Yeah, coming in with that home guard, Duke could be in a little bit of trouble. Duke backing away, goes Meganar at just the right time. Can Wolf possibly cut them off with a pillar? Mad Life coming from the side though. Good flank, they're gonna go back in onto Wolf. Bengi locks up Untara with that cocoon. Mad Life with the flank from the side. Wolf gets knocked up. Faker getting in position to do a lot of damage. Bullet time shredding away at CJ. SKT needs the kills now. The ult used by Kindred as SKT gives chase. Can they get some kills? There's the execute for Bengi. Now the pillar slows down Maokai. Another one for SKT. Are they going to keep going, or are they just going to shift over to Baron now?
Untara has been great in these TPs during the laning phase, and that's something that you can learn how to do in solo queue. Remember, he hasn't had the most play on professional teams. He was in China for a little bit of time, but he wasn't ever on a starting roster in the LPL. And now what we're seeing is that some of his TPs later on just don't have that same effect because he comes in here, but look, Duke was already nearly Meganar with a bunch of tank items at this stage, and it's an easy rotation over from SK Telecom. Meanwhile, they just try and get in the backline. Mad Life tries to zone off Bang, but he punts Wolf in, and that means that everyone is now walking into bullet time from CJ because Bang held it until the CC was gone. And here, Bengi gonna come up, get tangled up in the minion wave, but will flash execute Bubbling, and then Untara going to get slowed up by that pillar of ice. It's filth in this skin.
It used to be just a pillar of filth.
It was.
But you can't smoke. Well, you probably shouldn't smoke around a pillar of filth. It's probably flammable. That's good. Now
I know,
we know
look,
the
it's
real
pretty
reason.
wet, so.
Well, maybe it's a flammable liquid.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. You never know. Bengi might get called here, no? Barely running out of that one.
So yeah, a bit of a misplay right there from CJ. And they're slowly losing their grip on this game. Certainly still winnable for them, but gets easier and easier for SKT's composition as time goes on.
Sure does. You know, one thing we haven't talked about is that now that Trundle's popular again, this is really going to be the season where Cloud Templar has to confront the demons of his past, you know?
Actual Trundle picks.
He's going to have to face that Trundle a lot of games this season. It's going to be tough. But after 4 years, I think it's finally time. It's finally time, Cloud Templar.
The healing can begin.
Yep, that's right. This is closure for that Champions Winter game. Whoa, Wolf loses a lot of health, but SKT wants to push this anyway. TP coming in for Duke. Duke almost Meganar gets pushed away by Mad Life though, and not gonna be able to slow him. SKT though has a chance to do something. I don't know where really I'm gonna go with that one.
I was wondering myself.
I was thinking, well, maybe Baron, but I'm like, no, they can't really do Baron. So
it was a good split of CJ on the retreat though, leaving Mad Life there, who is able to deal with the Gnar even as he goes into his mega form.
Yep.
But ultimately, they're not really going to be able to make a play. This will give Untara a nice timing window around his next teleport, should they try and use it. And odds are this means that SKT is just going to wait again for Duke's TP to come up and play around Baron vision as much as they can.
Yeah.
This mid lane turret still staying up for a surprisingly long time. We're 34 minutes into this game, and SKT has yet to lose their mid lane, and no tier 2s have gone down on either side.
Well, already getting into one of the longer games we've seen recently in League. Games have been pretty short overall, but with the nice job that CJ did early on in the game with the comeback that SK Telecom has had to make, it's turned into a pretty even late game.
Has. But again, CJ just really struggling to push past the MF Victor wave clear to take this very necessary objective, and it's really harming their ability to control Baron at this stage, because Baron can be done very quickly in the late game right now, and the fact that that mid lane turret hasn't gone down yet for SK Telecom means that they have an unusual amount of Baron pressure and vision control at Baron at this stage of the game. This is something that you almost never see in a game of LoL.
Yeah. But SKT needs to really respect CJ's team. Needs to respect the composition. Mad Life has been playing really well this game.
Yeah, if CJ wins, he's almost certainly going to be the MVP with some of those early setups, although Untara did do a good job early, but is starting, I think, to fall a bit behind now and show some shakiness when it comes to coordinating TPs with the rest of his team.
Mad Life has been good all game, you know, right down to that gank early on where he punted Wolf right out from under the turret.
Well, you see how defensively SKT is playing. They've got a slow wave developing, a slow push rather, in the top side, and meanwhile Duke pushed up even without that TP, but everyone else just hugging that mid lane turret right now. So they're making it so Untara will lose a turret if he leaves, and there's not an excellent play to be made. They don't have very many deports in the enemy jungle, simply because that vision has been controlled by SKT in the river. So this is just SKT playing a waiting game right now, intelligently. This is where they want to be and what they want to do.
Finally going to get some damage done on this mid lane tier 2. Kramer scared away by that pillar. I wouldn't want to be next to it either. Drops the culling. The turret's still going to go down. Can CJ fight this though? Duke just left Meganar stage, and here comes Bubbling Untara from the side. SKT could be in trouble. Bangi kind of trapped in the middle. Bullet time over the top, not doing a lot of damage, and Bang has to go on the run now. Untara needs to be careful though, getting low, and Bubbling on the outside of the fight, not doing a whole lot. Faker just runs through the middle of everyone, turns around to lay down some damage, and Bubbling on his own. That's not going to work out. And now Kramer, trying to fight for his life, gets pulled back in with the Meganar ult. And SKT somehow, some way, turns that fight around.
Huge priority on Faker right there. We did see Sky try and come in and burst him down, nearly one-shots him, but can't quite get the kill. Faker barely surviving with the help of his two summoners, and then Bubbling also overcommitting with the Lamb's Respite through the middle of the team fight. And that made a very big difference. Sky now going to try and get some kills here,
well,
if he can, but Faker now coming back with full HP, and they're going to start this Baron.
Whoa, Sky being pretty brave going into the Baron pit to poke like that. Looks like they're going to get the Baron though. SKT claims it. But how much can they get out of it? They got a nice gold lead out of the last couple minutes. Let's watch that fight again.
I mean, they thought they had this up. Duke was not in Mega Gnar form. It had just dropped out. Mad Life does a really good job of dealing with Faker. And Sky just a little bit late to this fight. However, a lot of those items down, abilities down rather, by the time he gets there. Faker now just using the back line very, very well and face of the mountain to survive that fight. Great reflexes from Wolf, and you see Kramer bottled up here by the Trundle Pillar and then quickly executed by 4 members. So they had gotten Faker, maybe have been a little bit different, but odds are SKT still wins that. But as it is, big overcommitment into that back line.
Yep. SKT picks up their 3rd dragon of the game, though, after everything is said and done. And Intara, with that recall, may have left this turret in a bit of a vulnerable place, as SKT is right about to put some pressure onto it with Baron. They're just going to have to give it up.
Yeah, they're going to have to give up quite a bit at this stage.
I'd say so. Wow, Bubbling caught by that cocoon. Has to drop the Kindred ult just to stay alive. But he's out of the fight for the moment.
Sky's still going to be doing a lot of damage, though. Bengi taking the...
Whoa!
Oh!
Speaking of a lot of damage, Gnar takes out a turret up at top in the meantime. Duke's still pushing by himself.
Thunderlords is pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, Thunderlords, I'd call it a keystone mastery. Maybe a cornerstone mastery.
Effectively, yes. We're not going to see too many picks not using that keystone. So everybody backing off for the moment, though. They don't actually crack the base at the end of that little fight.
Yeah, but they do everything but, so they really do have all the pressure right now. And a good amount of vision, too, on CJ's side of the map.
Yeah, they can just push right up again. They're going to use Duke on the side lane and just try and siege this mid down. Duke still with the TP edge, Bubbling, taking a massive chunk from MF.
Yeah. Duke still just doing Duke things. Got that turret really low already. SKT is going to rotate down. Sky coming from behind, draws a death ray out of Faker. They're going to get the turret, though. Duke coming in. Do they have the ult? Whoa, Mad Life getting the backlines. Bang, forced to cleanse out of that one. Mad Life back away. There's a bullet time, keeping the rest of CJ away. Base of the mountain used on Bang, rather. SKT continues to push into the base. That's going to be an easy inhibitor. And at this point, you really have to wonder if there's anything that CJ can do to stay in this game.
Well, probably not. Again, CJ had that advantage early. They did much better than the last game in terms of playing out their composition, but trying to beat this composition that SKT is running in a late game scenario when you don't have a large advantage is incredibly challenging.
Well, 4 turrets and 2 inhibitors is the count from that Baron. Really doesn't get much better than that unless you win the game outright.
Big power play, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Duke finishing up that Mauve Malmortius finally.
That's what he needed, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's got the Thornmail, he's got the Stair Gauge, he's got...
Just rocking the 6-item build, man.
Yep, a lot of tanky stuff, a little bit of damage. The Gnar way.
Yeah, this Maokai stats getting pretty much entirely stolen by this Trundle, too, is a big problem with the amount of damage that SKT has.
Yeah.
Maokai not going to be doing a whole lot. Well, Luden's actually completed now on Sky. It's not an item that you see on too many mid laners these days, but
I think he's just trying to get as much poke damage as he possibly can get, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really on him to soften up SKT for the fight that CJ knows they're going to need to take. Any damage is good.
Again, methodical closure from SK Telecom here. Like we saw last game. Gonna take all 3 inhibitors before trying to deal the killing blow, and Tara's going for the Hail Mary.
Yeah, trying to come in from behind. Mad Life dives into the team in the meantime. Wow, Bubbling already nearly taken down. Bullet time comes in for Bang again, softening up CJ. Wow, Faker with the damage, though. Thunderlord just lights up Kramer. Duke diving in the back now. Mad Life gets a big pulverize, but no one's there to capitalize on it. Faker with the double by Tara. Faker with the triple kill. That's going to be it. They're going to take out the last inhibitor turret, take out the last inhibitor. Frustration on the faces of the CJ players. But SKT is back, guys. And you got to wonder, I'm going to say it right now, SKT wins Season 6 Worlds. I think the sample size is large enough for me. GG.
Very impressive game from SK Telecom, especially game 1. They did show a few more faults in game number 2, particularly with Duke's TP responses, which, again, we know is a problem with him as a player.
Yeah.
He didn't follow Intara that well and allowed CJ some openings for some nice dives, but in the end, he played out the split push, got the turrets, got his team back into the game, and with that big combo that SKT can pull off and the huge amount of zone control in those team fights, SKT puts it together, and that's going to be a 2-0 for them in their first series over CJ Entus.
Yeah, solid showing.